Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, back for another episode 83 with Chad, Travis, Kai.
It's a little less people here today.
Oh, there's some breathing room in this office.
It's 10 degrees cooler.
10 degrees cooler.
Yeah, I don't feel like fainting yet.
Kyle, you happy to be back on the mic today?
Oh, yeah.
I know you got pushed out there last week, didn't you?
I know. It's pretty sad.
Hanging out in the hallway.
Very quiet.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back, though. I know we had a good episode last week, though, with Geneva. It was fun to have those guys on.
Absolutely.
I hope it helped a lot of people understand, like, financing and think about financing and really thinking about the real world, like the fact that these rates aren't as bad as people initially thought they were. When you start actually breaking it down for what it is, we're in an okay spot still. We're still not as bad as we could be.
Then you learn what subsidizing is.
Subsidizing, exactly. We learned something, right? And we found out that my trivia, that I'm pretty good at understanding my trivial knowledge, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of a lucky guess, though, last week. Not gonna lie to you guys. Completely just shot in the dark. That was pretty good.
That blew my mind. I didn't know you were going to do it.
It's pretty close. You should have seen the look on Connor's face, though. I think that was the best. Connor's like, how did he see it? He was across the table. How did he see the answer? Like, got it. But no, it was a lot of fun. But what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving?
Family.
Family?
Oh, yeah.
Football?
Bunch of food. Football.
Family and football?
Oh, yeah.
What about you guys?
Family thing. Eating a lot of food. A lot of couch time.
Yeah, family driving to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Good old Cheeseland. Got to
Cheese
drive ahead
land.
tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, are you going to boo the Packers fans as you keep driving? As you yell out the window?
Usually.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm not a
Just
Packers guy.
boo! As he drives by everybody's house.
Kyle, is there going to be any beer there?
I hope so. I'm going to need it. My birthday actually falls on Thanksgiving this year. So
Uh-oh.
it's a pretty good excuse.
I didn't know that. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
There we go. Travis will buy you one.
I'll just have 4 to 5 beers to stop the shaking, and then I'll go outside.
Yeah, now you're contractually obligated to get me a 12-pack.
It's true.
You don't want to hold him to that.
Yeah, you're going to get some Natty's Ice.
He's gonna get you some nasty beer, man. You don't want it.
It's a
Better than
bulldog
nothing. I'll
or
take
red
it.
dog.
Red Dog, yeah.
I'll buy you some beer. I'll get you beer so you don't have to drink his beer. Well, happy birthday in advance. I guess I didn't know that. So happy birthday to the new guy. We're all going to chime in and sing happy birthday. No, we're not. We're not going to do that
Please
on the air.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. I did not know that about you. So that'll be a fun time. I'm going to also do the family thing. Well, hopefully. My son is sick. So if he doesn't get better, I'm going to hang out with my son on Thanksgiving by ourselves. While the rest of my family goes and enjoys Thanksgiving.
Do you go to the in-laws?
Yeah, we usually go to my in-laws. Yep. What's your guys' favorite food from Thanksgiving?
Stuffing.
Stuffing.
All of it.
All of it. I like it. Good answer.
Turkey. I mean,
Turkey.
I'm pretty boring.
That's the right answer. It should always be the turkey.
Yeah.
Stuffing, though. I've never heard that one being the favorite. That's awesome.
Stuffing is delicious.
I am not a stuffing guy.
Oh.
I'm not
I
either.
cannot stand it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't have celery. Celery's atrocious.
Yeah. So this week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about decision making and kind of the long play, as I put it. You make decisions and you got to think about what is it actually going to affect, And, so I always said decision making in the long play. What the hell does that mean, right?
Exactly.
What it means is that you're making decisions today for a company or for your company or your family, but does it affect your long-term success, as a family or as your business? Are you making decisions with emotion, or are you making, are you thinking about the direction that you're traveling as a company and what it could do for you as you move forward, Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people make decisions on emotions. I think that's just natural human, I guess a human element, right? We just impulse decision, right? What comes to mind right today now, and then we make a decision. But I think as a business owner and as businesses go, you kind of have to put that impulse behind you, that emotion behind you, and figure out what the decision is long term. What my decision today, what's it going to affect down the road, right? So I guess what comes to mind for you guys when you think about stuff like that, as decision making goes in that long play, what comes to mind for you guys as we come up with, things? I mean, as an example for me, and I know it's kind of a tough question, but, I think about people rushing into decisions based on those emotions, as I mentioned, and they leave stones that are unturned. They don't go look at all the options they could have had because they got so excited about the first option they found, right? And, they leave a lot of information a little bit unclear is one thing that comes to mind for me. I've spoken to people who think about buying cheaper products as an example, and they're not, or not buying anything at all as an example, right? But it's all because they just don't want to spend a little bit more money, right? So an initial decision is, I want to buy this because it's cheaper, or I'm not going to buy anything at all because that's too expensive. But they don't think about why is it more expensive, right? Mm-hmm. I guess what comes to mind for you guys when you think about that stuff?
Travis?
Well, for me, to kind of piggyback off what you just said, if they're looking at the cheaper product, right? The one thing that they'll always say to me is they'll say, I'm going to go with the cheaper product because I don't have my proof of concept yet, or I don't know if this is going to actually turn into something.
Yeah.
Well, what I always rebuttal with is, you obviously have a plan. You obviously need a machine to make.
You at least have a vision, right?
Well, that's just it. It's like you either believe in yourself or you don't. If you believe in yourself, you're going to buy the more expensive machine because you're going to have to buy it eventually anyhow.
What's that whole buy once, cry once thing, right?
Exactly.
We talk about that all the time, but that's what comes to mind when I talk about decision making in the long play. When I start thinking about it, I start to think about what decision are you making today that you may regret making later. Exactly. There's something you do today that could affect the outcome in a year or 2 years, and you're going, I probably should have thought about that. I wish I would have thought about that, right? You usually don't know that where you are on that until probably didn't think my way through that, right? You're usually too late.
It's that buy your second machine the first time.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, my favorite part about this whole thing is that Chad's been sitting here at the table giving a thumbs up to Travis because he's not sure how he was going to answer that question.
Totally threw me under the bus, and I answered it.
Yeah, I'm going to do hard pass on that. And then Travis starts talking. He gives him a thumbs up. I love it. Kyle, you got anything to add to this one? You got anything that comes to mind when you start thinking about that decision-making for the long play?
Yeah, this one's kind of tough. I guess you kind of have to sort of meld that idea of logistical thinking and an emotional thinking, standpoint.
I agree.
There's definitely a dance that you can kind of play when it comes to making big decisions for your business, especially when buying new and more expensive equipment. And you kind of just have to go in with both heads.
Yeah, I agree with that. Is when you start thinking about, you got to be thinking about your statistical decisions, like you said, you're looking at the stats, looking at how it affects your business. But there is some level of emotion still. You still have to be excited about it, right? You still have to want it, Yep. So I think you're right. There's a kind of a two-headed dragon there that you got to think about. Like, you don't want to just run with the emotion side of things, but you don't want to take emotion completely out of it either, because sometimes if you're not excited about it, you're not going to love it, right?
Right.
What do they always say? If you don't love it in the store, you're not going to like it at home, right? Like, it's the same thing. You got to love what you're going to buy. And so it does blow me away when you talk to people and they're like, oh, I know you got a better machine, but like, if you don't already believe you're buying the better product, like, what are you doing, right? So that's what I've always thought was my favorite phrase that people said is, I know your machine's better, or I know your product's better, but, and the but is always, there's this cheaper and I can get by. Like, so you literally are giving away your future play. It's not cheaper long term, right? The long play is not cheaper. The long play is more expensive by buying that cheap machine, right? Because either A, the machine or the product is going to break down and leave you frantically searching for something else.
Wall dependent on the machine.
Wall dependent, exactly. And now you're on a shorter lead time now, because now you don't have the time to wait for what you really need. Or you're going to end up in a situation where it doesn't work to the level that you thought it was going to. You either fail, right? Whatever you're doing doesn't work out, and so you give up on the plan because of a decision you made, or you end up in a situation where you go to sell that equipment, right, and you have to buy another piece of equipment. Well, you're out more money. Buying two machines is still more expensive than buying the right machine the first time, right?
And the amount of hassle that goes into trying to get rid of the old machine to get the new machine. Yeah, it's a lot of logistical stuff I wouldn't want to deal with.
I agree with you. The long play is you end up spending more money later on. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? Because you need to spend more money to get the right product the second time. Like, as you just said, I don't want to deal with the headaches and the hassle of logistical moving equipment in and out. Plus, you know what nobody thinks about? What about the learning curve? When you switch equipment later on, you got to relearn, right? Even though you know how a CNC works now, the two different products probably don't run the same, right? I mean, there's probably some differences. So in the middle of being dependent, you're now trying to learn. To me, that's where people kind of forget about that stuff. An example of this for me is my wife, recently went and got her hair done. And I'm going to pick on my wife a little bit here because I'm one of those guys that, like, I don't care. Like, I'm not into it. Like, it doesn't matter to me who does your hair or what you do. But you have to love your hair. You know, like that's what I always have told my wife. Like, if you don't love it, then I don't love it. You know, like that's all I care about. If it affects you emotionally where you're upset, now I'm mad, right? I don't, anything I've always said in my life, if my wife's mad, now I'm mad. If you keep my wife happy, I'm a happy guy. Like that's just who I am. So
Happy wife, happy life.
that's what they say, right? And so she tried to go the cheap route. She tried to go the cheap route because it was more convenient. My wife's a teacher. So everybody who knows my wife, she's very busy this time of year, especially because of conferences and everything going on. And so obviously she was trying to get in to get her hair done before conferences and all that. And she's found somebody locally that she wanted to go, get her hair done at. And in the end, she paid to have her hair done twice. She got it done and then she didn't like it, and she ended up going to the place I told her to go to the first time. And the whole reason she didn't go to the first place was she told me it was too expensive. And I was like, just go get your hair done. If that's who you want to do your hair, just get your hair done. And I made the comment to her, and it's probably my fault somehow. I'm going to get in trouble for this. But I was like, if you don't, you're just going to end up having to pay her anyways to fix it. Like, not actually thinking that was going to be right, to be honest with you. And then, she came home. She was super upset about her hair. And then, of course, as any good husband, I was like, it looks great. Like, I didn't care, right? Like, anything, just don't cry, And she ended up not liking it. And she ended up going, getting her hair done, which was less convenient because then she had to go to 2 appointments now. Right. And she had to do it at like 8 o'clock at night. So after conferences one night, she went and got her hair done. Like, she didn't get home till after 10, like it might have been later than that. I don't even know. I was watching football, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, like she said, she got home late. But it was like, you start thinking about that. That was just in like one scenario, my wife doing her hair. Break it down into like a shop running a CNC machine, right? Like that same thing. Like, I'm just going to buy the cheap one, right, to get by. And then the machine doesn't work. And then your business is still dependent. Your customers still want their product. Your deadlines don't go away. But now you're trying to replace that machine. And it's not as convenient as driving down and spending 2 hours at a hair place to get your hair redone, right? No, then you're paying a forklift, or you have to get a forklift, arrange electrical. You got to move things in and out. You got to coordinate without missing a deadline. Doesn't sound fun to me.
No.
Not fun at all.
No. So let's talk about what that long play, is and what does it mean for a business decision? Let's go there. To me, again, the long play is what's going to happen with your decision long term, right? If you choose to go with that product or your business, if you, whatever it is, you're buying material, whatever it is, and you don't believe in it fully, then you're going to find yourself maybe struggling to justify it down the road. And you spent the money, right? Let's be honest. You spend the money on the product, it's gone. Now you have to get a return on that investment. So if I spend $100, whatever I spent $100 on needs to be $100 worth of value. Would you agree? You guys agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah.
So if I spend $100,000, then value just that it needs to give me is a higher value.
$100.
It's $100. No, exactly. It's $100. So wait a second here.
Other weaknesses? We're slow learners, and we're not particularly good listeners.
Let's try this again, Chad.
100,000.
100,000.
Okay.
Wait, it's got to be your bowl. So yeah, it's as you're looking at it, the money you spend though has to return itself. So people naturally look at it as, well, I'm not going to buy the more expensive machine because I got to make more money with it then. Well, you're still going to have to make the money, right? I mean, like if you buy the cheaper one, you still got to make money, but now you got to do it the hard way. It's $100,000 with the right piece of equipment. It's a lot easier than, $1,000 with the wrong piece of equipment, right?
Yep.
Right.
So, you have to look at it, kind of hand in hand for what it is. And, as you start looking at it now and you start trying to find a solution to work with what you've done, it gets more expensive, right? So if you buy the wrong tool or you do the wrong thing, as an example, if I buy the wrong material, there's a good chance, as I'm building whatever I'm building, I'm going to have to work around the material limitations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, it's no different than a CNC machine or any other piece of equipment in your shop. I have to work around the limitations of the product, therefore taking me longer to do what I could have just done with the right piece of equipment.
Yep.
Or the right material. As an example, if I build, if I'm building, a house, probably not going to build the house out of MDF, right?
Probably wouldn't be wise.
Probably not the smartest decision. It's the same thing. Like you're working around limitations. So additionally, what about modifications? Let's talk about that, right? We occasionally receive calls from people thinking about modifying their machines, right? With aftermarket products that they found, right? Let's talk about the long play there. You know, they look at it from a marketing side of things. I think a lot of people in today's world get caught up in I can buy the cheap version, right? Not spend more money here, and then I'll just go buy this. It's aftermarket, and I can get what I need out of it, right? How does that usually pan out for most people?
Not good.
Not well.
Not well. I mean, when I look at it, you know, they let's just talk about something, you know, that we've seen recently. Dust hoods, right? We've seen some dust hood options on machines. The dust hood kind of protects your investment, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, when you're thinking about cutting, the number one thing you're trying to keep away from your machine is dust and debris, right?
Yep.
That's the point of a dust collector in most cases, is to get the crap away from it. And then you're going to modify that piece of equipment right out of the gate. Like, it sounds cool because you found this, you know, fad or this crazy, like, hey, it's this new cool thing, exciting product, right? But a lot of people haven't actually thought about, like, what are they truly affecting? You know, they just see it as something cool, and they read something somewhere that says, you're going to save 30 seconds a sheet. But they don't even know if they need to save 30 seconds a sheet. Right?
Right.
Like, do you take a lunch break every day?
I try to.
Okay. So if you get busy, Chad, what's the number one thing you do?
I don't take a lunch break.
You work through lunch, right?
Yeah.
So I've always said that to
Got
my
me on
customers.
that one.
I always talk to I always tell that to my customers. These customers are worried about saving 30 seconds a sheet, right? Or 30 seconds a day, right? In most cases, you're not saving 30 seconds a sheet. I'm going to be honest with you. In the real world, most people save a few seconds. That's it. But all that adds up to minutes, right? Not hours, minutes. If you take a lunch break, you've given all those minutes back. So the long play, again, you're spending money, you're modifying your machine, you're potentially giving up warranty, support, all the stuff that goes along with it for the lunch break that you took already. Right?
Right.
Like, to me, if you are that sensitive on time, you need another machine. If literally taking a lunch break makes or breaks your day, you need another machine. Like, the long play is buy another CNC machine or buy another piece of equipment or hire somebody. It's not figure out how I can customize my machine so I save a few extra seconds per program.
Especially if that said dust hood gets destroyed because it's not programmed properly, because it's programmed for the right dust hood for the machine. You just cost yourself a lot of time.
Well, exactly. You know, many times aftermarket items leave certain things out of the equation. There's risks, you know, on your warranty, on your support, on parts failure, collisions. I mean, as you said, there's a lot of things that can be affected. Most don't think about those items until it's too late, though. You know, a lot of times they've already got a voided warranty or they got a support issue because they've put something on their machine that wasn't approved. You know, it's no different than taking and buying that brand new Ford pickup, driving it off the lot, and then going and modifying, cutting the exhaust right off it and modifying the exhaust, right? Like, the first thing the dealership's going to do if you bring it in for a issue with codes is be like, no, you modified the exhaust. We're not going to warranty all those sensors and all this stuff. You know, like, there's an effect there.
Yep.
Chad, you worked in the automotive industry. Mm-hmm. What happened as soon as somebody programmed their computer on their vehicle?
Avoid the warranty.
Voids it. Mm-hmm. No, there's no questions asked. Regardless of what they did affected the problem they're having or not, it was a voided warranty.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because people don't think about it. By you reflashing that memory on your computer, it can affect the power windows.
Well, and on the cars, it puts an asterisk next to the software update number or
Yep.
the software number, just so you know immediately that it's been
flashed.
entered.
Yeah. And then people don't realize that. Like, that stuff, all of us OEMs, we're smart, right? We get it. You guys all want to go out and add that flash, you know, and that wow. But, like, we have to protect ourselves too. If we're going to give you warranty, like, I can't be chasing a collision that happened when the collision happened because you modified the controller file, right? Like, my job is to warranty the machine as designed, not for failures on your part because you chose to modify it beyond its design.
Fixing somebody else's bugs.
Yeah. Like, it's not my job to figure out the errors in somebody else's product.
Yep.
I've gone through the process on my end. I've done R&D. I've done a whole lot of testing on our product. If something fails on our end, it's a controlled environment. Something failed, right? But generally it's because of something that I can pinpoint back to a failure, right? The warranty covers it. Mm-hmm. They don't just fail on their own. That's what I've always told people. Like, machines don't magically just go, oh, I'm going to move this random place now. Something caused it to move there. There's an outside influence. And That's where people, have to start thinking about is, you see these vehicle purchases and guys go out and buy these $80,000 trucks and they customize the emission system right out of the gate. And they immediately lose the warranty and the support that came with that $80,000 investment. And let's be honest, are trucks $80,000 anymore?
No.
I feel like they're more, right?
Most 100,000 now.
Yeah. And so you're literally going out. It's like buying a house now. Think about that. Like, it's like buying a house for some people. Like, you're buying a house payment. You're putting a house payment on your monthly debt. People don't have a problem doing that, but then they start worrying about adding equipment for their business.
Something that'll make them money.
Right. Like, it just blows me away. Like, people literally are more worried about what they look like driving down the road than they are about actually accomplishing the job, right? But my point of this is, when I purchased a new truck and I drive it all the way to the end of the warranty before I touch the thing, because that's the whole reason I bought a new truck, right? Otherwise, I would have just went out and bought a used truck.
Right.
Isn't that the reason you buy the new one? Is for the warranty and the support?
Amen to that.
Why are you buying new products at all if you're just going to go void it right away? It doesn't make sense to me. And it's because the investment that you're making, you want to protect it. That's your long-term play, right? That's your decision. I want a machine that is protected for life, right? I want to be able to call the company, and if I have a problem with the machine, I want to be able to get help. I want to solve the problem. I don't want to buy a brand new machine and then still be on my own like I just built it myself. So that's part of the reason why people do this. So making a decision should have reason, right? When selecting your product, you need to think about the reason you're selecting it. Are you buying it for the betterment of your company or yourself or your family or whatever why are you doing what you're doing, right? The decision you're making, what is the reason for your decision? Is it a convenience thing? Is it just simply cheaper? Is that why you're buying? Like, find the reason why, and if you can't believe that honestly you are receiving the best product, then you're likely leaving the long-term play unconsidered. Because ultimately, the best product for the job may not be the cheapest.
I agree.
Examples of this is, people buy a highly accurate ShopSabre router for $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 or whatever they spend, $20,000. It doesn't matter. You buy a ShopSabre because of the accuracy, right? A lot of people invest in our product because they know that either, let's be honest, the number one sale we make isn't to the new customer, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times we sell machines to people who've bought something before us and find out the hard way they probably should have just bought our machine, right?
Correct.
Yep.
You guys would agree that most customers you speak to have had some sort of experience, in most cases, negative experience with another product?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Okay. With that being said, they buy this machine because they want our support, our knowledge, our capabilities. And then they run off to Amazon and buy the cheapest tooling they can. Like, you just bought the most expensive machine that you could buy for your capabilities. And then you bought the cheapest tool you could possibly buy to put it on your machine. This probably, in a lot of cases leaves cut quality issues, right? Because the tools aren't the same tolerances or technology. And it's no different. Like consumables for products. When you buy things, I've always told people, again, you go buy that $100,000 truck. You don't run out and buy the cheapest oil you can buy. No, most people pay the dealership to do the oil change the way it's intended, right? The right oil, the right weight. Yeah, there's cheaper oils out there. Mm-hmm. But again, if I go buy a $100,000 Corvette, I'm not going to go put standard oil on it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the premium oil on it. It's the same thing with your CNC machine. If you're going to buy the most expensive one you can afford to buy or the best product you can buy, you should make sure you're using the right components to go along with it, right?
Absolutely.
Again, we see, the one thing I've seen is many times I've seen customers complain about edge finish to me, right? They call me up, oh, the edge finish isn't what you guys said it would be. And then I start asking questions. And I find out that, they're using Amazon specials, right? They're not using the best tools they could buy. And the first thing I've asked people to do is, okay, do you mind just trying this bit? I want to see if the issue persists. It shouldn't matter what bit I'm using. It does. I'm sorry. Just humor me. And people try the right tooling. And then they find out, oh, machine does cut better. Like that's something I've dealt with. It's not often. A lot of people do listen to what we say and they take our suggestions out of the gate. But, the same thing can be said about your business. If you buy what you need to do the job, you're going to be much happier. But buying the wrong tooling, the wrong equipment, hiring the wrong person or people, all leads to long-term rework, right? The long play may cost you more up front, but your return on your investment is better in the long term. Where the same can be said if you don't buy the right tool up front, right? The cost up front is going to be less, but your long-term cost of investment is going to be a lot more expensive, right?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Looking back at, things you guys have done in your life, is there anything that you guys specifically, like, you look at it and you're like, oh, should have done that differently? Product-wise, I mean, is there anything that you guys can think of that you bought that you wish you would have just like...
Travis's vehicles.
Too many times to count. I feel like you're just taking a shot at me big time.
That's funny. I wasn't taking a shot at you, for the record, but I'm glad that you... glad that you took it that way. That's awesome.
But the good news is I've rebounded. Now I've obviously gone different directions on purchases, and I spend the extra money on the things that I know I need.
Yeah.
Same thing goes. Okay, let's talk about my shed quick. The shed situation's still going. I could have went and bought one of those pre-assembled ones for like $4,000.
Yeah.
Chances of it holding all the weight of the stuff I wanted to put in it, probably not going to happen because their floors are cheap. So I got a guy that's going to, charge me double the amount of money, but it's going to work. So I had to spend the extra money even though I didn't want to, but I knew I needed to for the long play. Because again, when I go to sell that house in, let's say, 5 years, that other shed may or may not have been still standing.
Correct. Well, you would have had the case where you go to sell the house in 5 years and the guy goes, yeah, I'll take the house, but you got to remove that shed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're spending time getting rid of it because somebody doesn't want it.
Exactly.
It's an eyesore. It doesn't work, whatever. Or they're trying to take money off the house because the shed's a negative effect on the house versus now, your shed's adding value back into that house, right?
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think with me is the garage.
Garage.
My garage going up and having 4 electrical outlets, and still Travis said, you're going to want many more than that.
Yeah.
Now I have like 12 of them.
But you're glad you did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
it's
you think
nice
about
having
that.
them everywhere, and I did the 220 outlet. I added a couple lights because I went really light at the beginning thinking I can just add stuff as I go. And
It's a cost thing, right? Again, you were looking at the price up front first and thinking, I can just upgrade as I go. I'll add this on as I go. It's a way people get with equipment in their shop. I'll buy the bare minimums and I'll upgrade as I go.
it ended up being much cheaper doing all the electrical all at once versus the guy said it would have been so much more for him to come back and do it later.
Well, you think about that because you're going to have to chop holes in your wall then, right? You have to chop holes in your wall, move all your crap, right? Let's be honest. That's the worst part about that idea is like the garage isn't built yet. It's easiest because I don't have any of my crap in the way yet.
There's no walls on it.
Correct.
You can actually take
And his team of people were already going to be there, so I was like, this is the perfect time. Let's do it. And
Yeah, let's talk about that with a CNC machine now, right? You're going to install a CNC machine. The team of people are going to be there to install it already. Let's install the right machine then, right? Let's install the product that we're going to use long term because, you can buy the cheapie, like you said, and you can come back and upgrade later on. But all your crap's in the way now. You got to move all your crap out of the way. You got to move things. You got to stop business. You got to, whatever you're working on, you're inconveniencing it at least for a day.
at least.
One day. Like, let's just call it one day if you're lucky, right? That doesn't take into consideration any of the learning curve, any of the other stuff that goes into it. Just one day as you move things around your shop. What's one day worth your business? That's another cost you have to think about in your, decision to upgrade later on. So there's a lot of things that go into that. So, I've always said like kind of ShopSabre in the long play, right? When you look at the one thing I like to remind customers is we've been here for 23 years, right? Or plus 23. Let's call it 23 plus. The long play for us was reputation and quality, was it not?
Absolutely.
Like my dad could have built a cheap machine. The old JB could have ran out there and built the cheapest machine he could build. And heck, he could have imported it from overseas, right?
Could have not supported him after a while.
Correct. We could have put a limit on it. Hey, we're going to give you, back when we started, support wasn't a thing. Like you paid these huge dealers and it was a yearly support thing, but my dad was like lifetime support. Like, sure, we could import it from overseas and make a lot of profit really quick. My dad probably would have made a lot more money starting this company if he was just paying somebody else to build the machines, right? But the long play for my dad was we're going to have a higher cost of doing business and eat up all of our margin that we do make if I'm planning on doing this long term.
Yep.
And I've always said that. Like a lot of these startup companies, fly-by-night companies, right? They're not thinking about being here in 5 years. They're thinking about getting rich and getting the heck out, right?
Yep.
It's somebody else's problem. Like, you can't be that way with your business. It's somebody else's problem, right? It's your problem. It's your problem. You buying the wrong piece of equipment is your problem long term. So the reality is my dad looked at it as like, I might take a little less profit up front, but long term, I'm going to have better support, more demand for my product, less failures, right? My reputation's going to perceive me. I'm going to have a good reputation. All of that is worth it long term to him, that he could build a company that he could grow with, not grow out of.
Yep.
And people, they think about that with their businesses and their machines, that you don't want to outgrow your own reputation, right? Like, there's companies out there, as much as I'd hate to admit it, I've seen it. There are companies out there that literally run from their own reputation. They change their own company names after several years because it's the same owners. If you start chasing the ownership of companies, you'll start seeing like a lot of companies flip their name after a few years. And why do they do it? Because their reputation's getting so bad that the only way they can clean their reputation is start over, right?
Yep.
And the problem with that is they're not running away from problems. They're just starting profit over again, right?
Yep.
Because a lot of companies, they're making their highest profits before the problems show up, right?
Yep.
Once the problems show up, profits start getting taken away. So quick, make all that money as fast as they can before everybody catches up to us. It's that mentality. And it's like, unfortunately, in the world we are today, like, it's so easy to be that guy. Mm-hmm. So I've always told people, like, you know why a ShopSabre is more expensive? Me. That's why. I'm not the cheapest machine out there. I don't want to be. If I was, I wouldn't be glad to work here. I wouldn't be proud to wear ShopSabre stuff everywhere. Like, I wouldn't have that American flag on everything, right? Like, it means something to me. And it should mean something to consumers as you're buying products or even as you're selling your business, right? Sell your business to your customer. Why are your customers buying from you? What's the long play for your customer? Why should they buy from you instead of buying from your competition? You, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't just scream at your radio, phone, whatever you're listening to us on right now, you, me, whatever, like, then you really don't believe in yourself. Like, the whole reason somebody should want to buy from you is because of you.
Absolutely.
And for me, when we build products, we build them for a purpose, right? That's what ShopSabre does, at least. Like, we build for a purpose. We don't just build products to build products. Trust me, I have better things to do with my time than work at ShopSabre 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, I promise you, there's other things in the world I would love to do. But we put these hours in because we believe in what we're doing. We have a purpose behind our work, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys, how many of you guys get emails from me at weird hours?
I think we all have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just happens, right? I'm working. When I wake up, ShopSabre is what comes to mind. Oh, I should check my email, right? Oh, I should follow up with that customer. Oh, I should follow up with this. Like, I don't quit at 5 o'clock and just forget about ShopSabre. Most business owners don't forget about their business when they go home, right? So as you're listening to this, if you're thinking to yourself, like, I'm not going to quit at 5 o'clock and just forget about my business, then don't buy products that are going to make you want to do that, right?
Yep.
If you buy products that make you want to go home and quit your job, you bought the wrong product.
Or you're doing the wrong thing.
Or you're doing the wrong thing. Exactly. Like, for me, I enjoy what I do. There's stressful days. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not stressful days. There's not days that I don't think about slamming my head in the door. Okay? There's not those days. Like, they exist. Every business owner tells you that. Like, I'll tell you right now, if you find me a business owner who doesn't want to slam his own head in the door once in a while, like, I'll tell you somebody who's not a business owner.
No. Well, if you find me a job that doesn't have any stress, I probably don't want to do it. It's probably not financially, like, worth it.
There it is. And I'm glad you said it, Chad, because isn't that the truth? Like, in the world, everybody talks about wanting to not work, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to work hard. Those jobs exist. Do they not?
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of jobs out there. People are hiring jobs that don't require you to stress. Mm-hmm. But I promise you, they pay the same amount of stress as there is, right? They're not going to give you the reward that you're looking for in life. And I have found that about most people. They will take the job that fits their lifestyle.
Exactly. The
stress levels they're willing to accept, the financial needs they have, whatever it is. The same goes for products. When I buy a product, I find a product that fits my lifestyle. I usually try to stay away from products that don't fit my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I don't drive a Ferrari, right? There's a reason I don't drive a Ferrari. It doesn't fit my lifestyle.
You also don't drive a Geo Metro.
I don't drive a Geo Metro either. Exactly. And that's the point. I could drive a Geo and save a ton of money on fuel. Can't pull a trailer with it, right?
Yep.
I could drive a Ferrari and then be house broke on everything. Like I couldn't afford another thing in my entire life.
And drive it 30 days out of the year.
And drive it 30 days and get stuck on every other day that it rains,
Travis will have
snows.
to pick you up for work.
Yeah, I'd
every
have
day.
to ride with Travis. Like that right there is enough motivation to not buy a Ferrari. No
The
offense,
Ram
Travis.
gets you to work every time you've needed a ride.
It's true. Every time I've needed a ride,
I've still got warranty.
you still got warranty. This is true. You still got the warranty. Although we've had to talk about that a few times.
I'm just glad that I know.
But I can't make out the words. I'm deaf.
I'm just glad Chad told me not to tune it because that was something
See?
that was on my list of things to do.
See, sometimes we're here to help you.
Or when
Sometimes when you start saying things, we're just like,
Shut up a minute.
or when your oil was leaking and you thought you had a warranty concern. But
Oh,
it was,
man.
go check your oil filter.
there it is.
I couldn't believe it. I'm so glad that's all it was.
Sometimes, but that's the thing is like, you know what? I'm glad you bring that up though. Think about owning that truck and not having the warranty at that moment. Right?
I mean, fortunately for me, I'm mechanically enough I could fix it, but Chad gave me
Did you
the
want
code.
it though?
Oh, absolutely not. That's why you buy that product.
How did the brakes go on Brooke's vehicle?
Oh no.
Other weaknesses? We're slow learners, and we're not particularly good listeners.
And we're not very mechanically inclined either.
Yeah. Well, we had a little trouble with that one, didn't we, Travis?
Actually, yeah, I probably should have just paid a mechanic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Chad.
Mechanical loves hearing that. But no, the reality is it's the same reason you pay ShopSabre to do the CNC work, right? ShopSabre.com. We know what we're doing when it comes to CNC, right? I mean, let's be honest. Like Travis, you're very good at CNC, correct? I mean, you know a CNC machine, you know what companies need, you know how to help them, right?
Absolutely.
There's a reason why you exist. Chad, you know how to take care of customers, right? You know CNCs, you can assist them, you can, help them with any understanding of any technology when it comes to really our industry.
Correct.
Both of you are there for the sole purpose of you guys are the guys you turn to when you don't know what you're doing, right? When it comes to CNC, you call you guys.
Correct.
Yep.
It's the same reason you guys call mechanics, right? When you need to do something, you go find a mechanic to work on the car, right? You don't do it yourself. Or to build the shed, you find someone who's going to build it for you, right?
Yep.
There's a guy for every job. And I've told a lot of my customers this. Like, I'm not going to walk into your shop and teach you how to build cabinets. I'm not going to do it. I can't tell you how to build a better cabinet than you're building. But I can tell you how to use a CNC machine to do it. Right? It's the same reason you rely on me. You are there to build cabinets. I'm there to make your life easier, not to make it harder. So if you're investing in my product, the last thing you want in my product is like, you already know how to build cabinets and now you can't do it.
Yep.
Right? I know how to build cabinets, but I can't use my machine because it doesn't work. Well, have I helped you at all now? No, I haven't. So that's where like investing in the right product, and especially the long play, it's really about what am I getting back out of my investment? How am I strengthening this relationship here? Right? If I'm buying your product, you're adding a capability. You got this look on your face like you just don't even know what to say right now.
I'm still just blown away by the comment to the brakes, and it hurts all over again.
I can't stop laughing either.
Oh,
This is $1,600 I'll never get back.
I'm pretty mechanically inclined. Sure you are.
Well, I could twist a oil filter, I guess, but not brakes. Yeah, the newer cars are a little struggle bus for me.
Changing oil does not mean you're mechanically inclined.
Oh man, I love this, guys. I love you guys. This is great. Yep. But that's who we are. I mean, but you know what's funny is that's what I love about this show. I love doing this is that we just get to be ourselves. Like we get to talk about who we really are. Like people hear us in our whole honesty, right? I mean, we don't have to pretend to be people we're not. Like when we say something, the other people call us out on it, right? Like that's not true. Like, it is what it is. Like, but the reality is even that though. I mean, Travis, you do consider yourself pretty mechanically inclined, and it's probably true. I mean,
it is true.
We're giving him a hard time right now and making him sound a lot worse than he is. But I mean, the guy rebuilds
import
snow
cars are a little different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's make sure we put in the context. His wife owns an import car, and it's not what Travis grew up around. He is a pickup truck guy, right? I mean, that's what you are. And the reality is you rebuild snowmobiles and you do a lot of that stuff. I mean, we've seen you go through more snowmobiles than a guy should in his life, but you have. And same with Harleys. I mean, you've had Harleys and every motorcycle under the sun that I feel like you've at least owned or wrecked at one point. But my point is even yourself, you're not going to tackle a CNC machine.
No.
It's not something that you want to tackle, right?
No.
We've talked about it. You have buddies of yours that have bought CNC machines and end up buying multiple CNC machines until they finally ended up with a ShopSabre, right?
Finally got one.
Right. But he's a perfect example, right? Buddy of yours bought several CNC machines, working his way, and he kept saying, "Oh no, this will get me by." And it never got him by. Right? He kept having to take the step the next direction, and now he owns a ShopSabre, and he hasn't had to sell it.
He loves it. I see the videos all the time, and he's doing a lot of good work with it.
But again, and even our friends, sometimes they get in these mindsets, right? Like, I can do it cheaper. I don't have to spend as much money. The long play, you're spending more money, right? Your buddy spent more money than he spent on that ShopSabre by the time he's all said and done, right?
Oh, for sure.
And he's happier with the ShopSabre.
But he loves it. And now he can tote American made as well.
And he tried, that's what I was going to say, he tried importing. He tried it.
Yep.
Saved some money, but ended up, in the end, still buying the American product. So, kind of, and I know you guys got a lot going on coming up here with Thanksgiving holiday break, but and I just want people to think about the decisions they're making right now. It's the end of the year. We're all looking at ways to save money right now. There's specials out there. There's sales out there. Don't get caught up in the wow and miss what you're really buying. There's a lot of companies out there that are going to try to hide behind specials, right? They don't want to educate you. They want you to quick buy now. Don't think. Don't ask questions. If the sales guy's not asking you questions, he's probably just trying to get you, off the phone as fast as he can.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Here, would we say it's pretty fair to say, here, we're going to probably spend more of your time on the phone asking questions than we are trying to give you just an answer, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
We want to understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. 30 minutes would be a quick phone call. I mean, some of them can be up to an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours I've even done.
Yeah. If customer has questions, we're going to answer them, right?
Exactly.
But we're also going to ask you questions. When you say something, we want to know, what are your expectations? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? What do we have that fits? I have cheap products. I have expensive products. More than likely, I'm not going to quote you either one of them. 90% of people are not going to see our most expensive quote, and they're not going to see our cheapest quote.
Yep.
Correct.
They're going to fall in between because their needs are going to fall in between. There's a lot less customers out there that need the top of the line bells and whistles of everything, right?
Yep.
There's a lot less customers out there that actually need the bare bones. Most people fall in between. And if a sales guy can quote you the same quote that he's quoted the last 10 people, he's probably more interested in himself than he is you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All of our quotes are built for the application, right?
Correct.
And so think about your decision. Think about how it affects your future. You have to look at the long play. What are you doing today to better your tomorrow? What does next year look like? 2023, right? We've had customers come to us and tell us they feel like they can come back next year. They're going to hold off for now. They're going to outsource. They're going to add more hours to their business, right? All these things we hear. All of those things end up costing you more money in the long term.
Absolutely.
Machines aren't getting cheaper. Next year is going to cost you more money than this year. Save the money and just get this thing moving, End of year pricing's here. Best price of the year. Best pricing of next year. Let's be honest, it's here now. And affordable financing. I mean, we talked about it last week. We have all kinds of financing options. You got deferred and no payment options. And then you got Section 179 tax advantages. Like, again, there's no reason not to try to save money where you can right now. Right?
Right.
But don't cut corners to do it. Don't be the guy that's cutting a corner to save a penny. Right? It's going to cost you $1 later.
Exactly.
So that's what I got. Travis learned that the hard way. Spent $1,600 trying to cut the corners.
Never doing it again.
Right? Cost you more money in the long
Well,
run.
I think you could do it now this time.
Yeah, well, it's just
Yeah,
understanding that there's an electric motor on that thing.
And not a cable.
Yeah.
and I
Do your third brake
cracked
job
it
the second
and-
time.
Oh, man. The good news is the brakes work now. That's all that matters to me. I'm not looking
It
back.
stops. That's good.
Yeah, it does stop. She would definitely tell me if it didn't.
I think so. Yeah. I think I know your wife well enough to know that she would definitely call work to yell at you. And it would be great. We all cheer on. Like, we're on Team Brooke here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're all Team Brooke here. Like, as soon as something happens, we just automatically agree that you're wrong, Travis, and she's right.
100% of the time.
Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Like, as soon as she calls in and Travis is like, listen to what Brooke did. We're like, yeah, Brooke's right. She's right. Like, you don't even know what happened. Doesn't matter. She's right. She's right. Absolutely on her team.
I have nowhere to go and vent anymore.
Yeah, we all disagree with Brooke. Good luck this weekend or this week at your family Thanksgiving.
Good thing she listens to these podcasts. She's gonna hear all this.
That's good. I'm glad that she's going to hear this. She knows she's got a lot of people on her. Hey, Brooke, if you're really listening to this, know that you have a big group of fans over here. We're all fans of yours.
100%.
Please make Travis's life harder.
100%.
But yeah, Kyle, you gonna have fun this week?
Definitely. Oh yeah, for sure.
You gonna take us up on that beer offer?
Yeah, for sure. No, totally.
I like it. Travis,
I might end up getting him Corona now.
you're gonna get him Corona?
Well, I mean, that's a step up. I don't know if I like it.
I'll bring my own limes.
All right.
Are you gonna sit on the beach with Snoop Dogg?
Actually, doesn't sound like a bad plan.
Isn't that the Corona?
beach.
Isn't that the Corona commercials, right? Where Snoop
He's
Dogg is
sitting
just
on the
rapping
beach.
with who's
The guy from Lonely Island Boys, Adam McKay, I think.
I don't watch TV, so I don't know.
I was just
I
saying.
forget his
I don't know
name
why. That's the
now.
only thing that came to mind when
Andy
you said that.
Samberg?
Andy Samberg.
There it
that's
is. There it is.
There we go.
There we go. Got it. All right. Well, Chad, go enjoy your Thanksgiving feast.
Appreciate it.
Watch
You
some
too.
football. I'm gonna cry over my football season, my fantasy football team.
I'm glad we're not talking about the Cowboys game.
Oh my God, it was bad. We were so proud of last week too,
I
as
know.
Vikings fans. We were like, "We're going to the Super Bowl." Guess what? We're back to the toilet bowl.
Back to the wild card.
Back to the toilet bowl. We got blown out at home. So maybe we'll redeem ourselves on Thursday. But with
Find
that,
out.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Chad.
I'm Travis.
I'm Kyle.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.